Hi, I'm DJ Ware. On this episode of the CyberGizmo, we're going to be looking at Qubes. This is version 4.3.0. This is release candidate 3, and it was released October the 27th, 2025, or last Monday. So I want to look at this because it's significant in the type of security that it offers. Not only the security that it offers, but also the privacy features that it has. So what I'd like to do is kind of delve in a little bit and cover some of that with you. And I think, to start out, I think in the modern world that runs kind of an invisible trust, I think you have to look at that at every website, every message, every application assumes that the other side means well. We trust it. But in this era, in the 21st century, that assumption is the single greatest point of failure. We've seen it more than once. One bad link, one unpatched library, one careless click, and the whole illusion of safety goes out the window. So this world of operating systems were built for one system, one boundary, and one breach away from compromise. That's just the way they are. And Qubes was built for another world entirely. It doesn't try to pretend that, one operating system can secure everything. Instead, it creates many operating environments within its domain. And each one is sealed away. Some are persistent when you need them. Others are disposable when you don't. All the orchestration is done by the Zen hypervisor, and in which it provides an invisible conductor, domain 0, that keeps all of the noise of that one domain from bleeding into into another. So it prevents one application from being able to view another one, and so forth. So it tries to manage all that. So I guess if you think of this like a small city, with Qubes being that city, the top of the city would be the tower, which would be domain 0. That's where all of the control occurs for the domains and application VMs that exist below it. So it's the part you see. It's the desktop, the window manager, but it never touches the internet. It doesn't have access to it. So you can't just update it either. So until there's a new one to replace it. Its job is to orchestrate. It decides which compartments wake up. And they can call them compartments or cube. A cube is the singular of the plural. Plural means the operating system. The singular means the application VM or the domain space, and we'll talk about what those are here in a second. So it also decides what wakes up, what goes to sleep, and what's ready to do work. Below that are service layers. The lowest level one that we have is sysnet. That holds the physical network cards and all of the external connections out to the internet. Sys connects to sysnet, and it provides the filters and routes for traffic. There's also sys-USB, which I kind of think of as a parallel to sysnet, except it's for USB devices like this one. So if I plug in a USB device, whether it be a keyboard or a mouse or an external disk drive or a thumb drive, that will pop up an alert and ask me, hey, where do you want to assign this? You can assign it to DOM0 if you want, like a mouse, you want it to control, to be able to, move the pointer around on the screen, or you want to use the keyboard across multiple domains. That would go to domain 0. You can also, if you have storage devices that you want to assign to an application VM, you can do that as well. But those are all isolated away. They don't talk directly to the place where you connect them. I'm not doing a hardware pass-through. Instead, it forms a communication channel between the application VM or the domain zero virtual machine and the device. And it passes messages back and forth. And that's how it maintains security. So, it's brilliant. I mean, the thing is absolutely brilliant the way it's put together. From the architecture standpoint, you have domain zero, that's what we talked about. And then you have an application VM. That's the part you use in order to perform your work, to launch a Tor browser to be able to browse the internet or read your mail. But whatever it is that you want to do, it has to be done inside of the app VM. That app VM cannot be updated. Well, you can update it directly. At least I have tried it, and it does work. You can update it, but the minute you shut it down and come back, your update is gone because it repulls from the template VM again and refreshes itself. So, yeah, it doesn't destroy your data, but it will destroy your application build. So you can think of it that way. Those are gone. When you want to add a package to an applet VM, you're probably going to end up installing that application for a number of application VMs because, like, your default actually builds 3 application VMs from, let's say, the default. The default is Fedora 42. So Fedora 42's template is going to be used to create a yellow colored app VM, and that one is called personal. And then you have blue, which is work. And then you have red, which is untrusted. So, and red can have 2 different flavors of app VMs. One is disposable, so that when it's like Tails, so once it shuts down, everything, data, applications, everything gone, history, it gets rebuilt. And then there's the persistent untrusted, where it acts again like Tails. If you have set up a persistence layer, it will keep things out there. So yeah, and that's the way that works. So Qubes is something that is in motion. It is a series of walls that are meant to keep bad things from happening, from getting in. So, and that series of walls, it's what prevents, let's say that your disposable VM gets infected with malware. It's not possible for that malware to escape because there is no direct communication with the other app VMs. And to understand why this matters, I think what we need to do is to take a look at some of the other distros that are out here. And one of them would be Tails. So Tails, I think of this as a mobile. This is the mobility privacy fence. So this is the distribution that if I'm going to be on the road traveling and I want to plug this into my laptop, I can do that and then create a privacy operating environment. Tails is amnesic. It forgets everything. Once you shut it down, it erases everything, comes back up. But Tails also has the ability to be persistent. On the persistent layers, it remembers that. And so, yeah, it also creates a encrypted file system, encrypted at rest, an encrypted file system in which you can store data. Kadachi, on the other hand, is a step up. That's a fortified workstation. It chains together VPNs and Tor, and it also bundles in cryptocurrency management and wallets so that you have a self-contained privacy lab. And so it's kind of a step up from Tails. Whonix basically takes, and Whonix, by the way, runs on Qubes too. That divides it has a gateway function and a workstation function. The gateway is the Tor protocol that goes out through the sys firewall to the sys net and then out to the internet. The workstation is the Tor browser, and so it communicates to the gateway and only to the gateway, so it can't be misdirected to give up its identity. by accidentally connecting to the wrong things. There are other offensive cousins like Parrot Security. There's Kali Linux. There's Black Arch. Those are really arsenals for pen testing and for testers that are, let's say, red teamers. They could also be the ones that are doing security research that are pulling apart a piece of infected malware to determine its signature. So yeah, those people use something like those. There's also Alpine Linux, which is not specifically a security or a privacy OS, but it's just an operating system that has a very small footprint. So and you can run it in memory. Alpine is small, and it's simplicity, and it offers control for you. It shares the same kernel, though, the same memory space, and the same storage. So yeah, you can be infected with malware just like you can on Fedora or Debian or Arch. Only types of systems that you would be difficult to do that with would be the ones that are immutable, like Silverblue or those types of immutable systems. So I think the Qubes architecture offers combinations of most of those and lets you live in a persistent world or a disposable world. Now, one of the other VMs we haven't talked about yet is the Vault. So the Vault is a place where you can store your passwords. So you can install KeePassXC, or you can put dash lanes out there as well. And those can be your password managers if you wish. I think there's probably other options you can use there as well. So, the Vault has no connection, no chance for communication with the application VMs or the internet. So there's no way to get into it or get out of it. They do offer it is protected space in which you can move things in and out of the Vault. For those of you who want to go deeper and actually put all this into practice, there's a few tools and there are training programs that are worth exploring. Of course, these aren't magic bullets. They're practical systems that are built by others who understand, what's at stake security-wise. So let me just go in here and bring up a browser so that under our work there's actually a ton of information out here that's really useful. There's some guides and resources over here for your maintaining your digital security, and it might be helpful to go through these. A lot of these resources are free. Some of them are pay if you want to go through like the training classes and you're not a journalist, you may have to pay for some of those. But SecureDrop is one of the ones they're working on. This is an open source. It's meant for whistleblowers and sources to drop documents off for you to be able to get access to while maintaining end-to-end encryption. It's used by journalists worldwide, and it's used to receive sensitive material safely. There's no third parties. It does encryption, protects against hackers, minimizes metadata, and of course, it's free. It might be that this is the one that's created by OnionShare, but this Dangerzone kind of couples with that, because if you download PDFs or Word documents, all of those have the ability to execute code on your system. PDF, same thing. It has the ability to do executables inside the document. What this does is, if I submit a file to Dangerzone, and I'll show you that, if I submit a file to Dangerzone on Qubes, it will run this Dangerzone converter in a disposable VM. So you can take this download link, and if you want, you can put it under Mac OS or Windows or Ubuntu, Debian, or Fedora. These all use Docker in order to create a container that is safe for Dangerzone to run in. On Qubes, this is experimental. It's in beta, but there's an install section here that if you follow it, you will go in and set up a disposable template for an app cube, so that when you can use this inside of any one of these, like for example, personal zone can be used to pass. I can call Dangerzone up, pass a PDF to it. It will launch this protected VM, run the conversion, and then bring that display back. There's applications. Now I should find Dangerzone listed here. So I'm going to go ahead and add that as one of the ones I want to be able to execute. So there it is right there. We'll apply it and OK that. There's Dangerzone. So I just need to do this. And then it shows you, okay, so I'm going to move the documents to original to unsafe. Convert to a safe document. All right, let's just see if this works. I haven't tried this yet. Let's see if it starts to call up the other one. So it should be launching this right here. There's the disposable. It just came up. See, that's the template that I created, and this is the VM it just fired up. So it's converting it. And then it should pass it back to me. Okay, it's going to open LibreOffice. That's a little bizarre looking. So that's the original one, and this, now I know they're okay because I've downloaded these before. But yeah, there we go. Is the GCA, the Global Cyber Alliance. So this one has, they provide a cybersecurity toolkit for journalists, and it's free, and so you're able to get to it as well. But it walks you through account protection, password management, secure communications, how to safely handle data. Even if you never touch Qubes, the toolkit will raise your security posture dramatically. It also provides some follow-on training links so that you can build real-world skills instead of just reading about them. So, yeah, this will help you. So here's the tools. There's CyberFlex. There's the Cybersecurity Toolkit. Let's go get that. And there should be, I'm going to reject that. So here you have some use cases. So small business, individuals, there's the one for journalists. Financial institution, elected officials, and mission-based organizations. Let's follow the link for journalists. And then it starts to talk you through. So start using the toolkit, and then visit the training portal, which is using Totem, which is like, I guess it's kind of so there's a little video about security awareness. There's identifying your devices. So what operating system are you using? What browsers are you using? The last thing I want to talk about is some of the more interesting features that are under development by Qubes. Yeah, so as this email right here is saying, is sys-GUI GPU. Its purpose is to remove the graphics processor from DOM0. And the reason for that is a lot of these drivers that like NVIDIA does, because they're even if they're the open source ones, they're huge, they're big. And so they expose a pretty large footprint. Qubes OS is trying to do, now they're talking about, the goal is simple, but I think it's more profound than just the overall simplicity. But it's to move the graphics hardware and the display stack and much of the GUI surface out of domain 0 and put that entirely in a separate isolated virtual machine. So by doing that, you reduce the attack surface of DOM 0. What they want to do is that they want to reduce the attack surface of domain 0, which is, of course, the most privileged domain in Qubes OS. It's essentially the root, right, of all the others. So it is the biggest risk point. If you can slip malware into this top level, the king, the top level domain, yeah, you're in deep trouble. What else can I tell you about this? So in practice, the GUI domain comes in two flavors. One is just sys-GPU. Now they're talking about sys-GUI GPU. That keeps part of the display stack in domain 0. And in this case, the window manager goes to a separate VM. The user reports show that while you can get sys-GUI GPU working in some setups, it still has some major limitations, such as it has special hardware requirements. So, for example, I don't think NVIDIA works at all. There is a select number of Intel and AMD graphics cards that work. And even if you do get it working, it's going to be probably just partial functionality. And the risk of locking yourself out is pretty high with these. Here's how things kind of stand. So sys-GUI GPU is real, and it represents the future of how the GPUs will be handled in Qubes, as far as I understand. But no, it's not yet a turnkey feature that you can go up to the settings panel here. It's not here yet. So you might want to wait until this feature matures a while. The Qubes OS goal is to offer a seamless GPU virtual driver to Qubes. It's not ready yet. It's not even a thing to test. It may take 1 or 2 years to bake. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, in security OSs like this, you don't just go out and fumble through and just throw it out and say, oh, try this and see if it works, because your reputation is on the line. And if you create a leak, that's bad. Or some mechanism that someone can take DOM 0 over, that would be extremely bad, and it would damage the reputation of Qubes OS forever. So yeah, I can understand their concern, and I can understand why they're being so cautious, and that's fine. You just take all the time you want. I'm not going to be one of those people going, can you get this for me tomorrow? Because I could really care less about. I mean, I have enough systems where if I need to go do GPU acceleration, I'll just go over to one of them. Think of sys-GPU and sys-GUI GPU as a preview of Qubes, their next architectural leap. It'll be cleaner, it'll be leaner, and it will provide more isolation. But treat it as an advanced experimental territory. It's not your primary secure work environment just yet. That's my tip, and that's all I had. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one. And I am going to stay on Qubes. That's what I'm going to use, at least for the next month or two, just to try it out. If I'm happy with it, I'll leave it. Hope to see you soon. Bye for now.